Hello, I got a warning signal that assisted steering is reduced. We were planning on leaving for Redwoods today. Not sure if problem is fixable within the day. Call when you open. Thank you. 2017 Chevy Silverado with a steering assist reduced message. Steering does seem to feel normal. Check codes. This is what we've got for codes. Power steering control module C0176 with a symptom byte 54. Looks like the symptom description is high temperature. Last test failed current. This ignition passed. Service information states that this is essentially something that the customer themselves could cause. Says that there's not necessarily a malfunction. Says that we need to check for any binding components that would cause the power steering control module, the motor, it's an electric power steering motor. Anything that would cause that motor to bind or work excessively, which would cause it to overheat. Perhaps some sort of exhaust heat shield missing, something crazy like that. I don't know. The steering doesn't really feel abnormal, so it says otherwise drive it, make sure that the code doesn't set and come back, and if it does, replace the power steering control module. Well, guess what? To replace that is a replacement of the whole unit, usually. Yeah, you've got to take the whole steering gear apart, and usually you cannot even get that separate piece. Usually you have to get the whole entire gear to do that. Also, so they're trying to leave on a trip and they need front and rear brakes and probably an oil change, and it could probably use an air filter. Doing it with one finger, so working just fine. The code description said that you could set this code accidentally by overworking the steering system, essentially cycling it back and forth too many times and holding it up against the stops too many times. No error messages yet. Perhaps rocking it back and forth a little too much would get that motor working too much. I wonder if there's any associated data that we could look at. Okay, rocking the steering. We do have a calculated system temperature, 68 degrees. I would expect if there was a fault that temperature value would just suddenly jump wildly. I kind of suspect that there's nothing wrong with this vehicle actually. And this may be customer induced, just like the code descriptor says. Because right now what I'm doing, this is kind of an abuse condition. And if it stands up to this, it's probably going to be okay. This is a hard situation because it's a steering assist message. They want to leave on not only a trip but a long trip, and if this fault does come back, they're going to have trouble along the way. Well, if the recommended repair were to be followed, that's a several hour repair if we can get the parts anytime soon, so that kind of screws you out of taking your trip. So this is a hard one. Do I erase the codes and tell you the vehicle's fine? Or what do I do here? Maybe have somebody drive it for me and just make sure it's all good? That might be what I do. Okay, well, it's still good, so I'm just gonna send it on a drive, and then if the video ends, then we didn't hear back from him and there was no problems, right? Seems to be okay.